But the actual post-credit sequence we do get, I had spoiled for me. A friend was like, yo, I saw on the internet this is happening. Isn't this cool? And I was like, oh, that's cool. That's like kind of fan servicey, but I want to see it. But I was really happy that they took something that could have been very bland, naked fan service that I would have popped for anyway. They figured out how to preemptively answer some of my complaints and leave me thinking that the next installment might be different. You know, the whole movie goes in one direction of what the MCU thinks Spider-Man could be, and this post-credit sequence, to me, sets up that like maybe they're actually going to give me the Spider-Man movie I actually want. I'll probably have to wait another 2 years for it, but it's a start. This channel is just turning into a living document of me being stupendously wrong. Hi everyone, I'm Dom Griffin, I'm a film critic, and you're watching the Armchair Auteur. This is an ongoing video series I do where we talk about new movies, old movies, screenplay analysis, television series reviews, that sort of thing. So if you like movies and you like movie adjacent popular culture, and you like to see somebody pick those things apart, you are in the right place and you should consider subscribing. So I literally just walked back to my apartment from seeing Spider-Man No Way Home at the Regal Cinemas version of IMAX, the Limax big screen, and I'm gonna review it for you guys right now. A lot of this is gonna be off the dome because I don't have time to really sit with the movie this week before I review it. I can't really get a big deep analysis into the film the way I normally like to, largely because it's impossible to do that without spoiling the entire movie, and the last thing I want is some MCU fanboy to put a pipe bomb in my mailbox. So there won't be like a ton of B-roll, it'll be a lot more conversational, a little bit like my older videos, and I will not spoil anything that is not already in the trailers. Seem fair? When we last left Peter Parker, he had his secret identity outed by Mysterio and the new Alex Jones version of J. Jonah Jameson, finally setting this universe's Spider-Man up for an adventure where Tony Stark's money and nanotech couldn't save him. He was left in the exact position most of the best Spider-Man stories leave Peter, with his back up against the wall. And for the first 20 minutes or so of No Way Home, franchise writers Chris McKenna and Eric Summers, alongside director John Watts, feel for the first time like they're making the kind of Spider-Man movie I really wanted to see Tom Holland star in, not one I'm begrudgingly accepting in the face of a bunch of tacked-on MCU shit. But you've seen the trailers. You know that this is not the inventive, street-level Spider-Man story I was personally craving. It's an event film, with Doctor Strange's attempts to use magic to put Peter's secret identity genie back into a bottle, causing a multiversal crisis, bringing back a myriad of characters from the 5 pre-MCU Spider-Man films Sony has made. Some officially announced through the film's omnipresent marketing, and others so broadly telegraphed via incessant Reddit spoiler posts that they may as well be foreshadowed in semaphore. Without going deeper than the trailers, Peter has to contend with Alfred Molina's Doc Ock, Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, Thomas Hayden Church's Sandman, Jamie Foxx's Electro, and Rhys Ifans' Lizard. I'll neither confirm nor deny any other cameos, Easter eggs, or heartwarming Deus Ex Machinas. So, like I said, I can't talk too deeply about the plot because there's no way to really do it without spoiling the entire plot. And because if I just throw up a spoiler tag and then have an entire middle section of the video where I'm just ranting about the movie's narrative, that's going to make for a very boring video. My argument against spoiler phobia is that a list of plot points can't ruin a film because the story being told should still be affecting even if you already know the general gist of what is going on. But for that to hold true, what is going on has to be more than the sum of its parts. The story has to be more than just a bunch of gotchas, reveals, and twists. And I don't want to say that Spider-Man No Way Home isn't more than the sum of its parts, but rather that the parts everyone is going to geek out over drown out what little genuinely good shit there actually is. Before I hit record on this video, I was in the group chat answering questions about Spider-Man No Way Home with the boys, and my friend Justin pointed out how everything that I was saying about the movie sounded pretty identical to a major like Reddit post that's been going around of spoilers for the movie. And what's funny about that, well, what's kind of sad about that, is that I don't know if that post that everyone was like losing their minds over was so accurate because of there being like a disenfranchised, disgruntled Sony employee leaking information out of anger, or if whoever made it just guessed really, really right. And I know you're thinking that sounds ridiculous, but this is the kind of movie that is so obviously tailored to make fans happy and to give people like what they want or what they think they want, that like whatever you're thinking in your head is going to happen in this movie based on what little you know about it, there's a good chance you're right. There's a good chance most of the stuff you're imagining totally happens. And there's an even bigger chance that it happens exactly the way you're picturing it in your head. And that's by design. Spider-Man No Way Home feels like 2 distinct movies. One is a genuinely thrilling and touching story about Peter Parker struggling with the idea of maintaining a double life in an imaginary future where he can undo the trauma he's inflicted upon his family and friends. It's a story about Peter trying to balance being happy with embodying his core ideals. The other is a movie littered with such blatant and hollow fan service as to not be a movie at all, but rather a fantasy booking Twitter thread come to life, an MCU fan theory from TikTok that cost the GDP of a small country. There's stuff I genuinely love and admire in this movie. I think this is probably Tom Holland's best Spider-Man performance thus far. A lot of that is probably because of like his really strong chemistry with Zendaya. Like they actually are very believable and fun to watch on screen, like very compelling. I think that the central relationship between Peter and Doctor Strange, between Tom Holland and Benedict Cumberbatch's characters, is a lot simpler and more emotionally affecting than all of the Mr. Stark stuff we had to contend with in the other movies. Like it just feels more honest and like minimal. And seeing pretty much all the returning actors show up in this movie in the various ways they show up is really fun. I'm not gonna lie. Like they all could have easily showed up and not worked very hard and just cashed big MCU paychecks. But each performer that shows up that you know from a previous Spider-Man movie actually kind of takes it seriously and like does pretty good work. Even Alfred Molina, who we know said he did it for the money, is very good in the movie. Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, fantastic. You can tell that Willem is having a ton of fun with the character. And look, in the moment, a lot of the cheap pops work. It's hard not to have fun in a movie so specifically curated to tickle your little fanboy G-spot. But other than like the first 20 minutes or so, and then maybe like a 15-minute chunk of the third act, everything in the middle really frustrated me. The main thrust of the plot involving the displaced villains is so thematically muddled and questionable and just weird. Like the actual underlying conflict is just so, it's such like a head scratcher that it makes the movie feel like it was grafted together from like 4 completely different Spider-Man sequel ideas. It's really frustrating to try to parse the different motivations and like thematic ideas that they're wrestling with in this chunk of the movie. And a lot of that is because it's constantly interrupted by like bad banter and like corny like fourth wall breaking type stuff. And the action is either forgettable or uninteresting or just kind of bad. Like the CG feels kind of like a rush job, and that's not me criticizing like CG houses and stuff. I know how the industry works, but it really doesn't feel like visually arresting or exciting the way the biggest movie of the year is supposed to feel. I watched this on a fake IMAX screen, and there's like almost no action set pieces or like sequences that stood out to me or feel memorable or like really grabbed me. Like the stuff I liked in the movie was some of the smaller character stuff, the performances, like some of the like turns in the story and things like that. The actual action, like the spectacle, did like nothing for me. I saw Steven Spielberg's West Side Story last week in Dolby Vision at an AMC, and that movie looked so much more visually like alluring, and like there was just so much better movement, and it was just so like colorful and just exciting and like really like fun to watch. And this just feels like visually illegible and like just indistinguishable. Many sequences indistinguishable from other similar movies that you've already seen. It's nuts to me that no one is making an effort in some of these Marvel movies to really make like the major shit, the action, like the fun stuff, to make it really pop. It just feels like whatever, you know? There is one sequence that I think you see in the trailer where Spider-Man and Doctor Strange fight, and it sort of apes some of the like fake Inception stuff from Doctor Strange, and like that stuff's mostly fun. But if we're gonna do big, broad, multiversal Spider-Man stories, can't we just make it more like Spider-Verse? That's the movie that hit a lot of the same beats this one does, only better and in a more inventive manner. And there's a 2-part sequel on the way that is already guaranteed to look a million times better than even the finest moments in No Way Home. By the time I made it to the credits, however, like the actual sort of epilogue of the movie kind of did touch me, and it did leave me feeling, without spoiling anything, that like, okay, now they're set up to do a real Spider-Man movie, like a real Spider-Man thing. That's what I thought last time. That's what I thought at the end of Far From Home. I thought that was going to set up a Spider-Man movie that was what I really wanted. And I'm not going to get fooled again. Like the next one's probably going to have him like fighting Stiltman and Galactus at the same time. It's just going to be filled with a bunch of guest stars. It's going to further whatever thing they're trying to set up in the next MCU movie. And Spider-Man's going to be like kind of a prop. And there's going to be like maybe 20 minutes worth of like pure uncut Spider-Man stuff in there for the fans. But the rest of it's just going to be the same old, same old. These feelings of mine don't matter though. Like you're going to see Spider-Man No Way Home. If I didn't get to go to a free screening because I'm a film critic, I would be going to see it opening weekend probably, out of nothing other than morbid curiosity. Most people who like going to the movies, they're gonna go to the movies this weekend. They're gonna go watch Spider-Man No Way Home. They're gonna bring their kids, they're gonna bring their family, they're gonna go with friends. This movie is most likely going to save the industry for the holidays, basically. Like this has been a rough year for movie theaters, and like Spider-Man No Way Home is like the savior that they're essentially been waiting for. This isn't a Marvel movie like Shang-Chi or Eternals, which are like kind of like outlier, weird B-side Marvel movies. This is like the king. This is like a big deal. It's going to be beloved. It's going to get raves, even if it's fleeting, even if it's a forgettable movie that you're not going to remember until you inevitably rewatch it on Disney Plus 6 months from now. It's gonna kill, and people are going to adore it. And it's because it's exactly what the pandemic box office needs. The only way it could be more perfect, and this is speaking from direct on-the-job experience, is if it was like 30 minutes shorter so you could fit more shows in a given day schedule, or if it was like 30 minutes longer and had like an intermission. Right now, movie theaters desperately need uplifting, fun, crowd-pleasing movies that people can bring their whole families to, that people will brave potentially getting the Omicron variant to watch, okay? Like this is what the theatrical exhibition world, this is lifeblood right now. Like this is like life or death for theaters that are trying to make money and be profitable and justify staying open. There are a lot of really beautiful movies that I've seen this year that I loved a lot that people just did not go fucking see. They just didn't go. I'm sorry. Like Ridley Scott's Last Duel, one of my favorite movies of the year. We opened that movie at my theater, fucking nobody came. Nobody. Like nobody. We're gonna pack them in with Spider-Man No Way Home. Like we've got pre-sales at the wazoo for this movie. It's been on sale for a week. People are stoked. But the danger is that even though this is what the multiplex needs right now, I'm afraid that it'll set a precedent that that's all we're gonna get. I'm afraid on some level, even though I know better, even though I don't want to be like one of those weird fake prognosticators, like I know that movies, the kinds of movies I like are not going to go away. It does feel like these kinds of movies are the only ones that are going to succeed at the box office going forward. And that sucks, because this movie doesn't feel like a real cathartic drama. It doesn't really feel like a story that like earns the things that it gets. It doesn't feel earned. It's just a bunch of stuff given to you because that's what you want. They know what you want, and they're going to give it to you every 3 months forever, as long as you go along with it. I don't begrudge anyone wanting for this sort of escapism. It has been a fucking terrible year, okay? There's nothing wrong with wanting to like turn your brain off or whatever and do this. I'm not gonna yuck and yum, okay? I just hope it doesn't become the fucking norm any more than it already has been the last few years. That's all I hope. Like, I'm sorry, I've just seen way too many good movies this season to like pretend like this is great. It's not. It's fun. It's you know, it's like you're gonna turn down ice cream, you're gonna turn down like pizza randomly. Like, no, this is delicious, but it's not exactly the proper allotment of, I don't know, storytelling macronutrients. Those are my feelings about Spider-Man No Way Home. Had a good time. You'll probably have a good time. I don't even know why you're watching this video, because like you know you're gonna see it anyway. But those are my thoughts, and I'm glad that I am lucky enough to get to share them with you. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have not subscribed, this would be a great time to subscribe. I have a full backlog of movies I've watched recently that I have to review. So if you liked this video or this kind of content, there'll be plenty more to come in the near future. Hit the little bell icon, you'll get notifications. You'll be the first one to know my takes on whatever movies are out. And if you have any thoughts about Spider-Man or Marvel or whatever, you want to talk to me in the comments below, I am always around to do that. I love talking to you guys. Thank you again for watching. Hope everyone's doing well, staying safe, being good to yourselves and each other. I'll see you in the next video in a couple of days. Bye.